Here is a video of my newly constructed DIY racing container vessel ship model in action. The DIY racing container vessel ship is a plastic model kit made in China that allows you to build a pool or bathtub worthy motorized ship. This container ship model is 11.8 inches in length with a beam of 2.4 inches when finished. It is common for grade school students in China to assemble these model boat kits in a classroom setting, then race them in a shallow long rectangular pool. This model kit currently retails for $29.95 on Amazon. A link to purchase this kit will be provided in the description. When I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma bone cancer, I underwent stem cell therapy and had to live in my room, quarantined for several months while my immune system was rebuilding. During this time, I had a lot of free time on my hands and turned to kit building that I could do from my computer desk. I decided to build this DIY racing container vessel ship model. I find it ironic that children in China race container vessels given the amount of goods that are shipped from China to the United States in these real-world vessels. Kit build. This model comes in an exciting box that is labeled Oriental Electric Powered Container Vessel in English. In addition, Marine Series is proudly pronounced in English on the left side of the box. Although the box was damaged in shipment, the contents of the box were intact. The DIY racing container vessel ship model comes with assembly instructions in Chinese. Luckily, the assembly steps also include great pictorial diagrams as well. First steps were to mount the pre-wired motor with propeller shaft and power switch with provided screws. Then the battery contacts were installed and the batteries. The instructions specify that a dab of Vaseline be put in the propeller well in order to keep the opening where the propeller exits the hull watertight. The propeller should spin when the power switch is in the on position. This kit included its own tube of model glue. I chose to use my main go-to glue on this model, the Model Master Liquid Cement for plastic models. A link to this model glue is included in the description. The green fore and aft decks were glued in place to the top of the hull. I used electrical alligator clips to hold parts in place while the glue dries. Here is the hull with the decks glued in place. This model comes with a display stand. I placed the hull on the display stand for the rest of the kit build. Next, the conning tower walls and bridge floor were glued in place. The bridge roof, radar mast, funnel, and stairs were then glued in place to the conning tower. Here is the completed bridge and conning tower from the back and front. The conning tower was then glued to the aft deck. Then the rescue boat and launch were glued to the back of the conning tower. Here is another view. The foremast, capstans, winches, anchor points, and storage containers were glued to the foredeck. Time to prepare the shipping containers. The containers on a real container vessel go deep into the hull. On this model, they simply sit on the middeck. The containers were glued together in groups of 6. I took inspiration in the mixing of the colored containers based on the box picture. The middeck sits between the fore and aft decks. Containers are glued in groups of 6 to the middeck. The middeck sits in place and is not glued, so they can be removed in order to access the battery compartment. The power switch is accessible from the middeck. Time to install the anchors and the bulbous bow. You can see the propeller in this picture. Decals such as the ship's name and water level indicator were applied to the bow of this model. In addition, the water level indicator was applied to the stern as well. The rudder is press fit and not glued to the stern, so that the ship's direction can be easily changed. Here are pictures of the completed DIY racing container vessel ship model. This ship model was very quick, even in the confines of a bathtub. Conclusion. Thank you for watching this video on building the DIY racing container vessel ship model. This was a fun little kit to work on. I am now ready to race Chinese grade school kids and give them a run for their money. Please like this post and subscribe to Rust Belt Vintage Story Repair so that you're alerted to my future posts.